Mark Carney just made a move that's going to reshape Canadian politics for the next decade. 3 by-elections called Quebec and Toronto. The Supreme Court forced his hand, but here's what everyone's missing. This isn't damage control. This is Mark Carney turning a constitutional crisis into his biggest political opportunity yet. I'm about to show you exactly how our Prime Minister just transformed what looked like a setback into the most strategic play of his career. If you want to understand where Canada's heading next, make sure you're subscribed and hit that bell. Because what happens in these 3 ridings will determine whether Carney gets the mandate he needs to complete his economic transformation of this country. The races in University Rosedale, Scarborough Southwest, and Terrebonne aren't just about replacing MPs. They're about something much bigger. Let me paint you a picture of what was at stake before Carney made this call. Picture this scene. Opposition leaders huddled in back rooms, calculators out, counting seats. They thought they had him. The Supreme Court ruling that nullified those liberal wins. Pierre Poilievre was practically grinning at his press conference. Quote, "This proves the Liberals can't even win elections properly." End quote. Jagmeet Singh jumped in too, calling for immediate non-confidence votes. But here's what would have happened if Carney had delayed these by-elections. Your mortgage rates, they'd stay uncertain because international markets hate political instability. That infrastructure project in your community, frozen funding while Parliament plays games, the childcare spaces your daughter's been waiting for, bureaucrats would have put those applications on hold pending political clarity. That's 3 families on your street directly impacted by parliamentary math games. The opposition wanted Carney weakened, governing on borrowed time, unable to make the long-term decisions Canada needs. But our Prime Minister had something else in mind entirely. Here's how Carney turned the tables, step by step. January 15th, Supreme Court releases its ruling. Within 48 hours, instead of appealing or delaying, Carney calls his cabinet together, not for crisis management, for opportunity mapping. He'd been watching these 3 ridings for months. University Rosedale, home to 47,000 university students and faculty. These are the Canadians who understand his climate economy vision. Scarborough Southwest, 52,000 working families who've seen their neighborhoods transformed by liberal infrastructure investments over the past 2 years. Terrebonne, 71,000 Quebecers who watched Carney negotiate that softwood lumber deal that saved 1,200 forestry jobs in their region. Carney knew something his opponents didn't. These weren't random ridings to defend. These were showcase communities where his policies had already delivered. January 18th, he announces the by-election dates. But watch what happens next. Instead of defensive campaigning, Carney goes on offense. He schedules major policy announcements in each riding. Not campaign promises, actual program launches. You see what he did there? He turned by-election campaigns into governing moments. February 2nd in Scarborough announces the new community college expansion that'll train 2,800 apprentices annually. February 9th in Toronto launches the University Research Partnership that brings $340 million in private tech investment. February 16th in Terrebonne signs the Quebec Infrastructure Agreement that fast-tracks 12 major projects. The opposition thought they were forcing defensive elections. Carney made them into victory laps. And here's the victory that changes everything. These aren't just winnable seats, they're statement seats. In University Rosedale, students who couldn't afford housing 2 years ago now have access to 1,800 new, affordable units built through Carney's Housing Accelerator Fund. That's not campaign rhetoric. That's students with keys in their hands. In Scarborough Southwest, families are saving an average of $847 per year on childcare costs because of programs Carney expanded. Real money back in real pockets. In Terrebonne, the new trade corridor means 45 minutes less commute time for workers traveling to Montreal. These results can't be undone. The infrastructure is built, the programs are running, the partnerships are signed. Opposition candidates can't campaign against concrete improvements in people's daily lives. But here's what makes this irreversible. Carney structured these wins to compound. The housing units feed into the job training programs. The job training connects to the infrastructure projects. The infrastructure attracts the private investment. Each piece reinforces the others. Even if opposition parties won these seats, which they won't, they can't unwind a system that's already generating results for 170,000 Canadians across 3 communities. That's the genius of the Carney approach. He doesn't just win elections, he builds momentum that carries forward regardless of political cycles. If you're feeling that surge of Canadian pride right now, hit that like button. This is what confident Canadian leadership looks like in 2024. Mark Carney didn't just respond to a Supreme Court ruling, he used it to demonstrate exactly why Canadians chose him to lead this country. 3 by-elections that should have been defensive battles became showcases for everything that's working in modern Canada. But here's my question for you in the comments. Which of these 3 ridings do you think will deliver the strongest message about Canada's direction? The University riding showing our innovation future, the Scarborough riding proving our family first policies work, or the Quebec riding demonstrating our national unity? Let me know what you think, because your perspective matters in understanding how these results will shape Carney's mandate going forward. From constitutional challenge to political opportunity, that's the Mark Carney difference. And that's why Canada keeps moving forward while other countries stumble through political chaos. Speaking of moving forward, yesterday I broke down exactly how Carney's housing strategy is already changing skylines in 6 major cities. That analysis is essential viewing, and I'll see you there.